Let's do Thanksgiving at Andy's house, North Phoenix.
Yes, where we don't have snow, we have tornadoes.
Yes.
What's going on with that? Wait a minute. Start the show.
It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
It's a fine Saturday morning.
It is a fine Saturday morning.
I'm so confused. It's so dark outside.
It's a fine Saturday morning in Ireland, Andy. That's what we know for
right.
I
sure.
might have my brogue.
Okay, so let me just start with this. I have only watched 15 minutes of The Irishman. I have not been able
You've watched
to
more than me.
finish it. Let me tell you, it is so weird. Steve, have you finished it? You watched the whole
that
thing?
was my birthday movie. Yeah, I've watched that one.
So weird, you guys, with the aging thing. It's just not working for me.
The super young De Niro. Yes. Well, there are 3 time periods. You're going to get to three or 4 time periods. So, yes, the really young De Niro.
I got to tell you, at this rate, Steve, I don't know if I'm going to get to 3 time periods.
You'll get there.
I cannot commit to 3 time periods.
He looks like a character. He looks like a character out of The Adventures of Tintin.
Out of perhaps a Marvel film.
It's
the squared off jaw. He looks like a cartoon character from Tintin.
Oh,
man.
God.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's a rough start. And not just that, it's a rough start. You get these moments where, like, he's standing there talking to Pesci, and he's like, and they just stop. And I'm like, what kind of 5th grade production is this? Like, this is not, what is going on in this movie? What is the big deal about this movie? My dad sends me a text. He says, you got to watch this. This is the best thing he's ever done, this Irishman. You got to watch it right now. It's 5 stars. I'm not at the 5-star part yet. I'm definitely not at the 5-star part yet. 15 minutes is not a 5.
No.
I was so disarmed by the fact that it started with another thinking voiceover, like slow move through the elder folks' home.
Wow.
Oh, for crying out loud. This whole thing's
not
a flashback.
fan of cinema. Pete is
not a fan of cinema.
He'll take his rock and sharks and tornadoes any day.
That's right.
I will. Okay, I'm going to give it another 15. How about that? I'll give it. They've stolen a bunch of meat. That's spoiler, everybody.
Wow.
They stole some meat.
I know what I have to look forward to now.
Do you?
There's
I don't
some
think
parts.
you do.
Okay, fair warning, Pete. When you get to Al Pacino, because you'll get there. I know you'll make it through. But when you get to Al Pacino, when he's just talking, he's got this weird sort of Irish-ish accent. And I guess Jack Nicholson did the same thing in that Hoffa, so maybe he had this weird accent. But once he goes like Al Pacino up to 11, and he's just like hoo-ah and loud, it disappears. The accent disappears as he's screaming and ranting about stuff.
Wow.
And then he'll calm down and he'll be talking, and there's this weird accent again. So yeah,
that's a testimonial? Are you giving me a pro Irishman testimonial?
No.
I can't tell.
I'm just warning you that it just really caught me off guard. Why does Al Pacino sound not like Al Pacino except when he's shouting? It's like, I don't know. It's like he goes into like Nicolas Cage mode at some point and he's just like ranting and screaming. Other times it's just Al Pacino playing a character.
You're right, Steve. All of a sudden, I can't wait to watch more of this movie.
Yes, it's really about Frank. It's about De Niro's character Frank and his journey. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Holy cow. I know. I don't know. I want to see it. I just have to find a moment to sit down for 3.5 hours.
A moment or 3.5 hours of them.
Jeez.
When you're not going to fall asleep.
Rough.
Yeah, right. So like
did you get out to Knives Out yet?
I have not. No, I haven't had a chance to see
that.
anything. It's been
I'm sort of done
so
with this show. Then Steve and I certainly don't have anything else to talk to you about.
I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
I
Bye,
mean, the
everybody.
reviews are all over the place.
Yeah.
Everybody's loving it except for Andy. He hasn't seen it.
Except for Andy who hasn't seen it.
He's the only person. He went and saw Frozen 2 instead. So, which Andy, I want to thank you.
That was a mistake.
I want to thank you because I was like asking my daughter, like, do you want to see it? And she was like, well, I don't know. I said, well, let me tell you what Andy experienced. And I said, it was at 2 stars. And then he had a conversation on the way home with his wife. And all of a sudden it's at 0.5 star or 1 star. And she said, ooh, really? I said, yeah. And she said, I don't know now. Maybe.
Rent it. Honestly, it should have been a Disney straight to video sequel. That's the quality. of that.
So they should have
story.
released Lady and the Tramp live action dogs in the theaters and just done Frozen 2 to Disney Plus, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I have to look now because I will say it was better than Olaf's Frozen Adventure, which is the short film that was attached to.
That caused you some.
That was the short film that was like
pain.
20 minutes long or something.
It was a full
it?
half hour. It was a full half hour in front of Coco.
Oh, that's right. Because wasn't it a TV thing that they then just dumped in the theaters?
I don't know, but they were terrible with making this decision. I gave it 1 star, and I don't know how I gave it 1 star. I should have given that a half star, and then Frozen 2, I will give the 1 star. I don't know why I gave Olaf's Frozen Adventure 1 star. Ugh,
that was too generous.
That was way
the
too
Frozen
generous.
cinematic universe is not aging well.
No, they're really screwing that one up. I need Disney to go back to the days where they didn't do sequels and they just do their first one. And if they do a sequel, it's a straight to video thing that no one has to watch.
Yeah, right.
Andy, you don't have to go to the theater to see the movie either. You know that.
Wait, what's this now?
I know. Because if there's a movie that might not be good, you don't actually have to go to the theater to watch it.
That's a really interesting point.
Except you would have seen it anyway. I know you would. You're a completionist. You were going to see it no matter what.
It's a Disney thing. I like Disney's animated classics. I like seeing all of those. But just like I told my friend's son when we were having an argument about Star Wars, because he was very upset that all the new Star Wars movies are official Disney canon, right?
Oh.
And so that really bothers him. I'm like, if you don't like him, you don't have to watch them. Just watch the ones you like.
Punk. And then I poked him in his 7-year-old face.
And he's a little older than that. He's like 17. But anyway, I poked him in his 17-year-old face. But that's a good lesson for me because the same thing applies. Yeah. I really didn't have to go watch it.
No.
Oh,
well,
lesson learned.
Your kids were going to beg you to go see it.
They really weren't.
Oh, so
like I thought about it in retrospect. I'm like, they weren't actually pushing us to do this. Why did I feel the need?
You did it. You did it to them.
I did it to them.
Did it to them.
They still liked it, but even my daughter was like, it's not as good as the other one. I'm like, she still likes it, but I have a feeling.
So have you been going through the Disney classics? Do you have the Disney Plus? Or is that just Pete that has the Disney Plus?
Oh, no, we have it. I haven't gone through to watch any of it. No.
Oh, okay.
The kids, I started, I wouldn't call it a Disney classic, but we did start watching Black Hole. Again, just really more to
sweet from the Disney vault.
Re-experience the joy of that film.
Oh, I saw that in the theater, and I was just watching the Earl Morris Brief History of Time documentary, and when they talk about black holes, they actually use some of the scenes from Disney's The Black Hole, and oh man, that movie's bad.
But it's bad in a way that I still think there's some clever stuff. So
it's just not in the
bad
dialogue.
in a way. Wait a minute, it's come all the way back around from bad to clever. Is that what happens when it reaches
still bad.
Escape velocity?
Right, it's just like a black hole, you guys.
It's just.
No, I haven't finished it, and I doubt I will. But I wanted to put it on, so at least
you have to finish it to write a review.
Disney Plus,
you do.
Well, it's there now. So
it's there now.
If they decide to put it in the vault, maybe I'll panic watch it. But
I'll sweat watch.
That's right. I've got mere hours to finish this before it's locked up again.
So have either of you gotten out to see Mr. Rogers? Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
That and Knives Out are the two things that we've been planning every day of our holiday to go watch, and we have yet to do.
Yeah, that's a high one on my list. I have a friend who has seen it now and has reported that it is not quite the movie that was pitched in the trailer. So I'm a little bit. I guess my anxiety is a little up. But the thing that he said to me that made me most anxious is that he described it as. Well, he used the same words that one would use to describe the Hobbit movies, as in, I think it was is it 48 frames per second? Like, did he shoot this in 48 or 60? Like, was he going for a TV, like look for it? And I suddenly deflated. I do not want to sit through
I don't think
this ridiculous thing. He said it looks like the whole treatment of it looks like what they do with brand new like 4K TVs. And you go in and they're all super sharp and everything is, he says, it looks like they turned on like smoothing, he said in quotes. And I am not. So I've been trying to research and figure it out. I haven't found anybody who's talking about it. So I probably missed the most obvious source, I'm sure. But like I'm so done with that. Well, I wish everybody was done with that. Ang Lee, hang it up. 24.
My in-laws did go and see it, and yesterday we chatted briefly about it. I didn't want any spoilers or anything, and they're really not movie critics anyway. Their feedback is usually pretty brief when it comes to movies. And
it was a movie.
No, their comments are like, "Well, we saw that Mr. Rogers movie." And I'm like, "Oh, what'd you guys think? We wanted to go see that." Well, it was interesting. It was interesting. And I'm like, okay, because it's just about Mr. Rogers. They're like, yeah, but it was just interesting. I'm like, okay, I don't know how to read that. So that was their feedback for me.
I need to read you just a brief quote about it. He says, this is what he says of Tom Hanks, which I think is interesting. It does make me curious again. If only I knew more about how it was shot. Tom Hanks' portrayal is effective but odd. Fred Rogers wasn't anywhere near as odd as Tom Hanks' version of him is. It's uncomfortably intimate in ways, when Rogers always felt more safe to me.
Wow.
That's not great.
No. See, we had the documentary, and that's all I need, because from the trailer,
the documentary was so perfect. It was just really terrific.
I don't need Tom Hanks trying to do a Mr. Rogers impersonation, and that it just makes me too aware that I'm watching a movie, and so I'll rent that one. I don't know that it's necessary.
Okay. Just like my Disney thing, it's a Tom Hanks thing. Yes, one of these days, I will have to learn to let go of these things, and I'll have to go see this one.
Somebody posted a still of Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers in the opening sequence when he's putting his sneakers on, and he's throwing a sneaker in midair.
Oh no!
It's a red sneaker.
Yeah,
it's Tom Hanks playing Fred Rogers, the man with one red shoe. And I immediately thought of Andy. I thought there's a guy who would smile at that. It was probably colorized. In the movie, it's probably a 60 frame per second disaster of a blue tennis shoe, but I don't care. The meme was funny.
Too funny. I love it.
What else we got? Steve, you were upset about something related to E.T.
Oh, raping my childhood? Sure, yeah.
Ouch. Wow.
Oh, God.
Have you watched this abomination?
No, should we live watch it?
I watched it.
Okay, because I was looking for the news of like what's some stuff that's happened, and apparently there was an ad, I guess, yesterday for Thanksgiving that Xfinity did, which is like a 4-minute thing of E.T. comes back to Elliot's house, but Elliot's all grown up and he's got his own kids, and E.T.'s visiting and hanging out and learning about seeing all the new technology that we have that we didn't have in 1980, whatever. And just, no, it was horrible.
It's terrible. It really, like, there's no sense as to what it has to do with Xfinity. E.T. looks rough.
E.T. is sitting on a couch with the family.
Yeah,
are they watching like White Christmas or something? This is terrible.
It's like it's a full short film. It's like 4 minutes long, 4.5 minutes.
Yeah, because Elliot picks up his remote and he's like, "Hey, play Christmas movies," and
the kids are teaching him. This is the internet. Yeah, it's terrible.
Wow.
Yeah, it's and apparently, I mean, a lot of people have watched this on YouTube. It's getting, it might be like 2 million now have seen it. I don't know. It's just a ton of people. Weirdly, there are a lot of people saying that the reviews are really good. And I think that's really strange.
Yeah. Well,
because
what do you think? What do you think they paid Henry Thomas for this gig? What do you think he makes? Does he do this kind of thing for peanuts? I'm in Haunting of Hill House.
No, he does it for Reese's Pieces.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
I mean, I haven't seen Dr. Sleep yet. Was he a central figure?
He's good in it. It's an interesting role. Yeah. He's playing Jack Nicholson's character.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't even know it was him. It was after the movie. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah.
Really took me by surprise.
Well, they're trying to do this thing, right? They're trying to do these little short films this is a big branding play. Yeah. And Apple kind of cornered the market on this a while ago and for the holiday, short film. And weirdly, they did one this year that it's one of those that is they linger on all of the negative aspects of like Christmas holiday and technology with kids for so long that by the end you're like, there is no punchline. I am in a soulless dark void. My children are mindless automatons. I can't win. The joke ends up being very sweet, but it's so short at the end. You wonder, is this family ever going to recover? And that I don't know if is the Christmas message. It may be the E.T. equivalent of Henry Thomas in a 4-minute short film paid for Reese's Pieces.
It's just a strange one. I don't know. It's frustrating to see property like E.T. used like this, and I get it. Steven Spielberg signed off because of the holiday, the message of family, and all this sort of stuff. But
but I didn't get that out of it.
Yeah, in the end, it was completely unnecessary, and it's disappointing that it was done.
Yes. Okay. What was next on Steve's list of gripes this season?
It wasn't a gripe. It was gripe. I'm excited.
Don't apologize. Everyone's got a right to.
I gripe about ET, and then I'm intrigued because I enjoyed the Netflix little docu-series. I think they call them The Toys That Made Us, and they've got a new one that just came out called The Movies That Made Us, and they're focusing on Dirty Dancing, Home Alone, Ghostbusters, and Die Hard.
I actually had a listener, write to me and suggest that we figure out how to do something with the movies that made us, believe it or not.
Interesting.
Like that be a thing that, let's see. Did you see this is coming on Netflix the day after Thanksgiving? There has to be a way to tie in the next reel somehow. I don't know what that means. I like the idea of a nod toward what they're doing, but maybe everyone picks a classic movie that is nostalgic to them and then discuss that movie. I don't know, just thinking out loud on your behalf. Maybe there is a next reel.
I feel like that's half of our episodes.
It's mostly our episodes.
And the guilty pleasures.
And the guilty pleasures, certainly.
Yeah, but you guys covered, you did cover Die Hard.
Yes.
You haven't done Dirty Dancing or Home Alone, and I don't think you've done Ghostbusters either, have you? Or did you
do
it? No, I didn't do a Ghostbuster. Oh, because Andy's never seen it. Oh, Andy doesn't like it. I forget. Andy's got Ghostbuster issues. I remember that now.
On his headstone, it's going to say, Andy, a cinema completionist, except Ghostbusters.
I remember he told me there was a story. There is a story. Yes, I remember.
It's because you weren't cast in it or something. I don't remember. Don't worry about it.
The story doesn't matter because I have seen it. Okay. I'm just not a big fan.
Okay. So it should be the movies that made Angry Andy.
Angry Andy. I prefer the story that we're cementing slowly but surely over the years. That Andy hasn't seen it and will never see it.
Eventually, I'll believe that. Have I seen it?
Have I seen Ghostbusters? No. It was only the Kristen Wiig one. Was there a movie Ghostbusters before Kristen Wiig?
No,
there wasn't.
Certainly no.
Hey, let's do. What do we want to do? I got nothing else to talk about, but we were going to do some Netflixing. We were going to do some trailers. What do you want to do?
You mean flick charting?
Yeah, Netflixing. Shut up, Steve. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Flixing.
We're going to flixing. We've got some flixing to do. You want to do trailers first? You want to do net charting?
we can chart the flick nets. Yeah.
So
nobody should ever let us do this show at night again.
Don't you do all of your shows at night? You do all of your shows at night.
But not this one, Steve. And remember the last time we did this at night, Tommy was on, and it was like a 3.5-hour episode because the guy would not stop with the jokes. Always with the jokes.
Okay. So good.
Okay. Let's do trailers. Let's do trailers. Let's knock out the trailers. Am I first?
I think you are.
Not ready for this.
You stole that by like 10 seconds.
I think I did.
Because I was going to, and I was like, okay, 10 minutes. 10 minutes. You had to jump on me. Go ahead.
I knew that was happening because you had just posted something about time, and I was like, okay, the clock is ticking. Steve is on the hunt. I better get out there. And of course, I saw this movie with, like, it's a Saturday, or it's a Trailer Rewind sweetheart of a pick right here. It's got all of the Steve Sarmento anchors from Nicholas Hoult. Who else is in? Charlie Hunnam. Come on. Yeah. Russell Crowe. This is like made for Trailer Rewind. I kind of feel like they were saying things like, come on, you guys, this is the sweet Trailer Rewind shot as they were making this movie. This is a story of, it is the true history of the Kelly gang. It is apparently based on Peter Carey's novel, the story of Australian bushranger Ned Kelly and his gang as they flee from authorities during the 1870s. Also, it's kind of like an 1870s Australian period picture mixed with like Train Spotting. It's a very strange mashup of tones based on the trailer from director Justin Kurzel, written by Peter Carey, obviously did the novel, and the adaptation was done by Sean Grant. Stars lots of wonderful people, including those I just mentioned, George McKay, Essie Davis, Orlando Schwertz, Thomasin McKenzie, Sean Keenan, Earl Cave, Marlon Williams. And let's see, I already talked about Charlie Hunnam and Russell Crowe. Trailer looks bananas. I'm very excited about it. I don't know why. I can't really put it to words. It's just cresting the 6-star rating at a 6.6 with 129 precincts reporting. And that Justin Kurzel, he's kind of a mixed bag in terms of things that he has directed. He directed Macbeth, 2015's Macbeth. He did the Snowtown Murders, 2011. I haven't seen. He did Assassin's Creed, 2016. So, mixed bag. The Turning, director, 2013. Haven't seen that one either. So, but in terms of straight up reviews, this is the next one. I'll tell you what he is doing next, though, which I am more excited about. I'm sure, Steve, this is high on your list. Episode 1 of the new Shantaram series that they are doing. You read the book? I'm sure you've read the book.
Nope. Don't know what you're talking about.
Really? Oh, really? Well, add this to your list, Shantaram.
Okay. All right.
And I think it's an Apple TV Plus thing that they have bought. It is a very big book, and it's one of those epic tomes of prison escape, and it's a big deal. And so he's doing this one. So what did you guys think of this particular movie, of this trailer, Kelly Gang?
I love the style of it. I loved just everything about it. They were really playing with the whole idea of, true stories and all that sort of thing, which I think is a lot of fun in these biopics, really kind of finding a way to shake it up. George McKay is an actor who I have been finding, as he kind of pops up in more and more, I find him a really interesting actor to watch. He was in Defiance, like 10 years ago. Good there. He was in Captain Fantastic. And he's in 1917 coming out soon. And he was in the 11/22/63 Stephen King miniseries. So he's an interesting face that I really enjoy watching. And I think him paired with this group of other actors as they kind of play this kind of crazy gang. I don't know. It looks over the top, nonsense, wild, insane. I had a really interesting experience watching this trailer. I definitely look forward to the movie, and I hope it can hold up and not be one of the other types of films that Kurzel has done.
This won't be Frozen 2, Andy.
Well, there you go.
But it has the potential because it could be a complete mess. But it really reminded me of Sofia Coppola's Marie Antoinette, where you've got a historical thing, but you're messing around with the time frame a little bit, particularly with like the soundtrack. So it just had some of those elements. Just the style doesn't fit the era that it's set in, which I love playing around with things like that because it's trying to take this, okay, we've got basically, punk hoodlums in the, late 1900 or 1800s. So let's bring that style to it. So yeah, this was if you've got a little icon, it's a trailer steal. You stole this one from me, Pete.
Outstanding.
Yes. When is this? When did we get this one?
Well, I'd like you to really mark your calendars for 2019. Because that's what is still listed in IMDb on the release dates.
Okay.
It is floating around the international festival circuit. Canada, Brazil, Italy has already seen it. Italy just was last weekend. Russia gets a apparently wide opening January 16th. UK gets it February 28th. Netherlands, March 12th. Turkey, March 20th. Get out there to our Turkish listeners. We still have just 2019. Who knows when it's coming?
Okay.
But it's got to get a distributor at some point, right? It looks like a movie that deserves a distributor, and that means righteousness.
Righteousness?
This movie deserves attention.
Indeed.
Indeed. All right.
That's what I got. All right.
Next
Steve.
up.
All right. So then you stole my trailer, so I had to look at what else. And I thought for sure you were going to take another trailer because for some reason in my feed, it was somebody snuck one of these fan trailers in there, and I thought there was a new James Bond trailer that had dropped for Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh, Pete will be all over that. I'm not even going to look at that. So I had to go to something a little bit more trailer rewindy, and this is actually based on a true story, based on a book. It is the story of a psychiatrist who does an experiment on 3 schizophrenics up at Ypsilanti State Hospital. All 3 of them, each of them believe they are Jesus. So he puts all 3 of them in the room and says, well, let's see what happens, because they all know there can only be one, the Jesus. There's not multiples. There can be only one. And what happens if they're confronted with other people making those claims? So this is based on a true story. It's got a really interesting cast. I'm a little cautious about this one because it played at Toronto Film Festival in 2017 and has sort of been languishing around. So I don't know what to make of that. If this is getting dumped into the early January, which is where it's showing up. I think it's January 3rd is our release date on this. But you've got Richard Gere and Peter Dinklage and Walt Goggins and Bradley Whitford. I mean, what an amazing cast in this, and directed by John Avnet. I was like, John Avnet, where have you been? You made some great movies way back in the day. What have you been up to? Not much. I think a little bit of TV here and there. So I'm interested with psychological type movies, so I'm curious to see how this turns out. I did a little digging around, and apparently this book was released in the 64, but in the 1984 edition of the book, this doctor, he added an apology and said, basically, I really had no right, even in the name of science, to play God and interfere round the clock with their daily lives. So he sort of has some regrets.
Wow.
So things may not turn out so well for these guys in the end. Who knows? So we've got a book to read before, over Christmas break, maybe, Pete, if you're looking for something.
Well, and what a great trilogy to watch this with. What were they? There was the Stanford Prison Experiment. Was there was the other one where they kept electrocuting that guy. And then now there's this one of great stories of psychologists doing evil in the guise of medicine.
That's right.
I'll tell you, this is one of those that really, it's one of those movies that just feels like it's got such a great cast. It just feels like this is going to be one of those great cinema wrongs.
Yeah.
That this movie is going to be ultimately ignored. It's going to be missed, and someone in here is going to have an incredible performance that's just going to go largely unseen. And I kind of hope that's Walt Goggins, because I want that guy to just blow up.
Yes.
Like, everybody else in here is great. I need Goggins to just be bigger. Now he's just so magnetic on screen. So I'm totally into this. I'm going to call this a reciprocal steal.
All right.
Had I gotten to this one first.
Yeah, Walton Goggins, there's a reason that he got so much notice after The Shield, because his character had, like, the core heart of the story is great in that film, or in that TV series. And he's been great in everything he's done since. I just love watching him. I haven't seen enough of his other TV shows that he's done afterward, and I feel a little disappointed that I missed Vice Principals because that looked so funny.
Oh, God. Painful.
Yeah.
Hard to laugh at him now. But it's what you really want to do because you look at him and it's like, I just know that's where funny comes from. But you know what else? Like he has such incredible, I'm sorry, Andy, I'm totally hijacking your praise of Walton Goggins, but I'm going to do it anyway. If you're not watching any of The Unicorn, you want to just see a little bit of his range. It's not a great show, but he is great in it. Like he just is you want him. He just has such heart and warmth in his comedy in this show. It is such a different thing than he has done. So good.
He's just a great actor. But like you said, Steve, I mean, it's really just a core of solid performers really kind of making up this film. John Avnet, for me, is the one thing that is like a potential stumbling block because, I mean, he did like Fried Green Tomatoes, which was fine, then really not much else that was good. And that makes me pretty concerned that he doesn't have the strength to kind of make something that's needed with the emotional core for a film like this. So that makes me nervous, but the core cast is so strong, it does give me some hope that it's still worth watching.
January 3rd. January 3rd, you can find out what happens, find out what these performances are like. And I think, Andy, maybe if we have a strong enough script that these are talented actors that can raise this to the level of maybe a director that can just shoot this well and get this thing done. Maybe what he can do for us on that one.
Exactly.
All right. I think that's up to you now, sir.
Yes, for mine, it's a kind of little trailer drags out there. Not anything that's I was too excited about. So I went with the trailer for a film that our Australian listeners will say, "What? That's been in theaters like months and it's gone already." It is Ride Like a Girl, an Australian film about an a female Australian jockey who becomes the first female jockey to actually win the Melbourne Cup. This is something that really happened in 2015. Rachel Griffiths is directing it. There's several reasons why I picked this. One, because it looks like the sort of film that I can watch with my family, and it can be an inspiring story for my daughter. I'm always looking for stuff like that.
Was the second reason because they actually finished the script the second she won the Melbourne Cup, like at the track?
They get started right away.
Finn, period. Cut, shoot.
That's right.
Somebody get her the salmon draft.
But Rachel Griffiths is directing it, and that's something that I didn't realize Rachel Griffiths had started directing, but she had a few years ago in some TV and stuff, and here she is moving into features for the first time. And I think she's a really interesting actress. I don't always like the films she's in or the TV projects, but I think she's great. So I'm thrilled to see her in the director's chair. And of course, Sam Neill's in this, and Teresa Palmer, who I think is an interesting actress, who's just not given a lot of good stuff to work in. She was in the unfortunate movie that I worked with her on, Take Me Home Tonight, back when it filmed here in Phoenix. Not a great movie. I feel bad for her that was her chance to break out in America, and that's what she ended up in. Really a shame. But, she's been in some other interesting films, and I think that she's been trying to kind of get herself back on track. I think she went back to Australia and started making some stuff that probably made more sense than Take Me Home Tonight. And here she is doing this. Again, it's kind of a biopic. I don't know if I'm expecting much from it, but I think that there may be some good potential coming out of the story. So what do you guys think of this one?
It made complete sense that you picked this. I looked at this and said, this is a perfect family-friendly movie, a really interesting story, and a story where I'm not worried about the horse getting hit by a car or shot or killed, like in Lean on Pete. Lean on Pete, exactly. I thought this is a good one. It's and again, where you've got a story of a young girl who asking tough questions of like, well, if the boys can do that, why can't I? And being successful at that. So I love movies like this.
I feel like it, Teresa Palmer, like I I feel like I've seen her in more stuff, and then just breaking out in America. Like I Am Number 4 was big around our place. We all hoped that was going to be a series. It just sort of fed that, for my kids at a certain age, and I go to movies too. But Warm Bodies was great, she was in 999, and she was in Point Break. Right?
Yes, she was.
The remake of Point Break. That was,
Hacksaw Ridge. She was
I'm just saying.
One.
She ended up being in a number of fun action films. You're right
and
about
Steve
the breakout
probably loved
thing.
her in Knight of Cups. He's our resident Terrence Malick fan.
I'm the Malick fan.
I was going to say, Andy, I didn't see that.
No, exactly.
I wasn't expecting you to have seen that.
No, I don't know how to even respond to that. Should I? I'll just be quiet.
Yeah, good idea.
Anyways, I think this looks great. I'm with Steve about at least we don't have to worry about the animals part. But of course, we probably just jinxed it, and who knows? Her horse probably breaks both legs.
As soon as it crosses the line and she wins, the horse dies.
She have to put it down.
She's got to put him down.
She's the one who has to do it. Yeah.
Yes, she's got to do it Australian
style. It's a rite
of
passage in Australia.
She has to eat its heart out too at the end of the
guys. This is the worst. Anyhow, I think it actually looks really great. So it's a fun family film.
This is falling into the same category as yours, though, Pete. This opened in Australia September 9th at an event there, and then it played in New Zealand and Poland. And after that, it just has a release date, generic release date of 2019 still. Who knows if it's actually going to get any form of release over here. Maybe it will, since the trailer just hit 3 days ago. I don't know. Anyway, Ride Like a Girl. Watch for it. 2019.
2019.
Yep.
Counting down the days, everybody. All right.
All right.
Let's flicknet this thing.
All right. Time for some Netflix.
Wait, I got to go to the gallery view.
Netflix charting. All right. So we are jumping back into our flick chart, and we are going to do some re-ranks. And Steve is going to try to help us and see if we can get anything changed. So first up, we have...
You can tell Steve is really looking forward to this.
Yes 2001 or...
let's see. The Deer Hunter or Syriana.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen either of those. But
I feel like I got to go with the Deer Hunter.
Yeah, I'm Deer Hunter on this.
Okay, easy enough. Me too.
Okay.
I bless that
Deer
decision.
Hunter had a tiny...
Just bless every decision.
Deer Hunter had a baby move from 263 to 249.
All right.
Next up, Viridiana or Spellbound.
I think I'm. Oh wow!
I'd probably watch Spellbound first, but I think Viridiana is probably the more interesting film. I'm going to say Viridiana.
Yep, you're going to say Viridiana.
Yeah, it's more interesting.
But I thought you just said Spellbound.
No, I'd say I'd watch it first, but
I'm Spellbound.
Okay,
Steve.
What is Viridiana?
It's a Luis Buñuel film.
Oh wait. Oh, dang it! This is one about a nun or something, right?
Yeah, it's a really
there
interesting
something
one.
like that. I have heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
so I can't help you.
It is a nun. She goes to visit her uncle, and he kind of is a creepo, and she stays there, and I don't know, all sorts of weirdness happens. It's well worth checking out.
Oh yeah, all right.
Yeah, so I'm going to say Viridiana. But Pete's going to say Spellbound, and so I guess we got to Rochambeau this.
All right, let's do it.
There we go.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
Scissors.
Rock. Scissors.
All right, I lost anyway.
Wins. And let's see. What's Flickchart going to say? Flickchart is like everybody on Flickchart tonight. Is this the late night Friday crowd that I'm competing against for their
everybody? They went out and saw. They went out.
I know,
and
I'm actually trying to refresh Viridiana right now over and over and over again.
There we go.
Viridiana, that's hurting
held
you.
Steady. 204. All right, next up, Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock or A League of Their Own. Oh, I got to go with A League of Their Own.
Oh,
Andy, I'm sorry.
It's Star Trek 3. If it was Star Trek 2, it'd be different. But this is A League of Their Own. This is good baseball.
You're right. there is no crying in Star Trek 3.
That was all in Star Trek 2.
Right. You may continue.
All right.
All right. League of Their Own Health Study at 140. Oh, thank you. Oh, back to Viridiana. What are the odds?
No.
12 monkeys or Viridiana? Totally 12
monkeys.
12 monkeys, Health Study at 135. Next up, we have Raise the Red Lantern or The Game. Ooh.
Raise the Red Lantern.
But it's The Game.
It's The Game. But Andy, we were pissed off after The Game this time. And when I say we, it might have just been me.
You. It was you.
Yeah. So I'm definitely Raise the Red Lantern. There is so much, like, I am so uninterested in a story about the 1% getting punked.
It's about people, Pete. It's just a story about people.
Yeah, it's about, like, people, and it's, really rich people have problems.
Oh, you're so terrible. They have a lot of money to spend on their game, that's for sure. Steve, do you have any comments?
You know what the
on
biggest
these?
problem? The biggest problem with that movie is the pad that at the end of the movie. Too much pad.
Oh.
They should have removed it.
No, because I have not seen Raise the Red Lantern.
You need to get with it with Zhang Yimou. You need to watch.
I know.
You need to watch it.
As I recall, were there some issues with the quality of the DVD on this one?
Not Raise the Red Lantern. It was, which is the one that we had the real issues with, Pete. It was,
well, it was it Judo?
Yes, it was Judo. Judo was.
Oh, okay. Because I remember listening to that series, and there was one where there was some issues with the DVD.
Like they really, I'm surprised Criterion hasn't picked those up because I mean, Judo is so colorful, and it is an ugly crime to look at that film. But I will go with Raise the Red Lantern, Pete, because there is a lot of art in that one. And I'm not saying there's not a lot of art in the game. I really like the game, but I'm going to pick Raise the Red Lantern.
Oh, but I've seen House of Flying Daggers, and I loved that. Yes.
Well, you watch some of his earlier films. I'm curious what you think of Judo and Raise the Red Lantern.
Okay. All right.
Next up
on my list.
Force Majeure, one of our, we had our friends on for that one.
The Swedes?
Yeah.
The Avalanche. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Or The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. This is the, which one is this one? It's just showing me her back. It's not helping me. I have to look at the tiny text. It is Numi. It is the Numi one. Okay, so Force Majeure or the Numi Dragon Tattoo.
A very challenging choice for me.
For me, it's the Dragon Tattoo.
It is? Yeah. Force Majeure was great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Numi, but it hurts.
Have you seen Force Majeure, Steve?
I have not seen Force Majeure, and it's on my list of things, but I know
as a dad, as a husband,
it's one where I'm like, I know I need to see it, but I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to just sit down and go through this.
Oh man,
it's a really interesting one. Yeah. All right, next up, Children of Men or Jaws. Whoo! Wow. Two top films. It has to be Jaws for me. It
is Jaws for me. Is that blessed?
Yes. Wow. Although Children of Men has a very, very high spot in this household. So
yes,
that is probably the greatest single turn I have ever experienced on this show.
Oh,
I did not like that movie coming into it, and we watched it, and it is, did my opinion get changed. Great film.
And as well, it should have been.
Yes.
All right, next up, Trading Places or Gallipoli. Gallipoli. Steve, any thoughts on that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. I saw Gallipoli when I was in high school, I think, and just fell in love with that.
So much running.
It's an interesting
so
film.
much running, but so good.
All right, Gallipoli.
I hear Tom Cruise watches a lot of Gallipoli before every single movie he makes. Just a lot.
Gallipoli jumped from 298 to 110. That was nice. A big jump.
Yeah.
Wow.
Trading Places was way too high. All right, The Wind Rises or Star Trek Nemesis. I gotta go with The Wind Rises here, even though
Miyazaki versus your favorite Star Trek villains. Aliens.
No, that's in Insurrection.
That's
it's Insurrection. Right. Nemesis is Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in that, but I'm The Wind Rises.
I'm Nemesis in this one.
All right.
What?
All right.
I have not seen Wind Rises. I have not, because there's not a lot of opportunities to see the Miyazaki, because I don't have my Netflix DVD shipment going on.
All right.
All right. Well, here we go.
But I vote against Nemesis because that just.
You vote against Nemesis in favor of nothing?
Yeah, because it's Miyazaki. That's all I need to know.
Sarmento, you are a non-contributing zero in this matchup.
Yeah, I'm a contributing zero. That's fine.
All right. Here we go.
It makes no difference.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Scissors.
Paper.
Yeah.
Wind rises, wins
Should've
rightfully.
known.
All right. I think this is our last one. This is a super easy one, too. We should do one more after this because it's just too easy.
Okay.
Fargo or our favorite, Rush?
For crying out loud. Should we just skip all Rush rankings again?
Yeah.
It's going to be Fargo,
Yeah,
and
it's Fargo.
we're going to be okay with that.
We'll do one more just for that.
All
Luckily, Fargo held steady. All right, last one. And it's another
Fargo
Raise the
or
Red
Under the
Lantern.
Cherry Moon?
Well, I know I'll vote there. This is another Raise the Red Lantern. Raise the Red Lantern or Stripes? Definitely Raise the Red Lantern.
Raise the Red Lantern.
Well, Raise the Red Lantern holds steady. And so at 106, and that is the end of our rankings for today.
All right.
Come on, 2001.
Very nice.
Why don't you pop up?
Yeah. Why are you so shy, Kubrick? Why are you so
You're
shy?
fine. You're fine. You're so
No.
Kubrickian.
Oy vey.
Okay.
It'll probably
Just
be
watch
something
us.
else that Steve has never seen. And
No,
then I'll probably lose the Rochambeau again.
No. Well, I'm trying. I'm on justwatch.com trying to see where I can rent or stream Raise the Red Lantern, and it's not helping me out.
I think that's a library one. I think
Yeah,
you
that's
have to
probably
get
gonna
this
be a
from the
library.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
All right. What are we? What's the list tonight?
So tonight for our lists, for our SatMat lists, we put the poll out to the people because we talked about Pennies from Heaven this week. That's the latest thing that we just released a couple days, I guess it depends on when you're listening to this, but yes.
Yes.
It's the show from the week, Pennies from Heaven, Steve Martin film, which is a very different film for Steve Martin. And so because of that, we ended up with these choices: comedians taking on serious roles, unlikable protagonists, and Walter Mitty stories, fantasy sidebar movies. The voters chose comedians taking on serious roles. So that is what we will be talking about tonight.
Outstanding.
And with that,
And
Pete, I guess
get
you get to go first. I know.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay.
And I'm very excited about this one because I get a lock for a pick with two fantastic performances it's a comedy drama romance, but I think this movie actually stands for much more than that. It is, of course, Bill Hader and Kristen Wiig in The Skeleton Twins 2014 from writer-director Craig Johnson. This was you could pick a number of other movies, including, ironically, for Kristen Wiig, Walter Mitty, and so that would be a lock for two categories. So I'm very confident in my pick for her. I'm going with Skeleton Twins, but I feel like I could go with other movies for her. Anyway, great performance from somebody with just an amazing amount of range, and we also get the bonus of Bill Hader doing similar stuff.
That one's been on my list, but I have yet to see it.
Oh, Andy.
I know.
So good. And Pete, I'm glad to see you're leading off with the lady on this one.
Yes.
As well. I mean, it is both, but you mentioned Kristen Wiig first,
she's absolutely my pick. It's just,
Yes,
he's a bonus. He's the
yes, he is.
tag along.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right,
Steve.
I'm sticking with the ladies, and this is one that I was trying to dig deep into the past, see how far back I can go. I couldn't get back that far, but this was one that I think, probably because I was a teenager at the time, it was one of these things where I was like, "Wow, it's interesting to see how a director can get a performance out of somebody. You can really see that talent come out." And for me, that was Whoopi Goldberg in The Color Purple.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. That was a good one. That's an almost steal for me.
That was on my list as one of my backup options.
Yeah. Skeleton Twins was a backup of mine just in case, because I thought, and I'm thrilled to see it as Pete's first pick because it was one of my backups.
I haven't seen The Color Purple in a long time, but I remember being really impressed with her in that film. And then she did Ghost of Mississippi and ruined it all. So,
wait, Ghost of Mississippi or Ghost?
Ghost of Mississippi. Ghost was great. I loved Ghost.
I loved Ghost.
Yeah. I shouldn't blame her at all for Ghost of Mississippi. It was purely Rob Reiner's fault for that. Everything that went wrong in that film.
I just wrote 800 words in my NaNoWriMo book today about Ghost. So be very careful about where you tread.
I love Ghost.
Okay. Swayze on a subway platform. All right.
For my first pick, I am going to a film that I haven't seen since it was on HBO and I was a kid watching it, but it was a film that definitely affected me. And I don't think I really knew a lot of what was actually going on in it when I watched it, but now looking back on it later in life, I'm like, how did I watch that and not totally be scarred for life from the film? I really am curious and would love to go back and see if it's any good. Richard Pryor, he actually directed a film that he about his life that he also stars in called JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling. 1986. It's 6.4 on IMDb, so it crests the 6-star rule. And so I'm very curious about it to see if it's any good. But I just remember the freebasing and sorts of stuff.
You remember these things.
I remember them. It was a powerful film, and it really hit me hard. And I was like, what is going on in this guy's life? It really kind of freaked me out. But I was really impressed with Richard Pryor because I had seen a few of his comedy films, and I knew vaguely of who he was when I was younger.
It's that funny guy.
Yeah, that funny guy. And here he is.
Why is his life bad?
Why did he set himself on fire? Yeah. So anyway, it was a really interesting film. So that's my first one. JoJo Dancer, Your Life is Calling with good old Richard Pryor.
Oh, so now it gets down to it. It turns out my middle pick was my hardest one. I've got three that really I struggle with, and both of them surprised me. I know that both of these actors two of these actors are certainly capable of delivering serious performances. Both of them have surprised me in the past. The one that I'm going with right now is one that I'm currently watching on what is growing to be a real favorite in terms of a weekly series for me. That is Steve Carell, and I'm going to drop Foxcatcher. His performance in Foxcatcher was bananas. Was that Steve? I don't even know if it's Steve Carell today. It probably some other actor who shares his name. It was a surprise. It was just a wonderful twist for his career, and I really enjoyed that movie myself. It's in some cases tough to watch, worth seeing, and he is exceptional in it. And I'm really digging the morning show. So you go, Steve.
Do I call that a half steal? Because I had Steve Carell, but with a different film.
Excellent. Well, you could do that. I think you could do that.
I'm surprised that you have, because you had real problems with Green Book because of the issues that the people came out and said, oh, this is all blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
The same thing happened with Foxcatcher. Just keep that in mind.
Well, okay. One, we didn't do it on the show. Two, I liked Steve Carell's performance vastly better than any single performance in Green Book.
I'm not talking performance. I'm just saying the movie.
So I'm just saying his performance and his ability to deliver and his range is just better.
I agree. I love Foxcatcher. I thought it was great, and I think he's great. I also am the one who loved Green Book, so there you go.
God, I know, that was crazy. I can't wait to hear your 1-star review of Knives Out. That's going to be a delight.
As long as it's not better or not worse than Frozen 2.
That's right.
All right, Steve. Second choice. What is it?
So I'm going with Steve Carell because this is a little hidden gem that I want to make people aware of, and I think people should see Foxcatcher, and I think people may have forgotten about that one because it's been a while. But I'm going to go back even further to 2007. This was the first time I think I saw Steve Carell actually taking on something a little bit more seriously. It was like right after what was the Bruce Almighty sequel where he's building the Ark? Yeah,
Evan Almighty.
That one. Evan Almighty. So this was right after that. This is directed by Peter Hedges. This is Dan in Real Life. And Steve Carell plays a widower who is on his way to like a family reunion and stops at like a convenience store, meets this woman and is flirting with her, and then finds out it's his brother's girlfriend. And you've got some family drama going on. But just Steve Carell, Juliette Binoche, Dane Cook, Allison Pill, Diane Wiest, John Mahoney, just a great cast, really well done movie. And I'm realizing I like Peter Hedges' work. He's one of these guys, unless I look at IMDb, I forgot about what he's done, because he's also directed one of our favorite Thanksgiving movies, Pieces of April, which is, I think, becoming a new Thanksgiving classic, at least in our household. But 2007, Dan in Real Life, Steve Carell taking on something serious.
I don't remember liking that movie at all.
I don't remember seeing that movie.
But interestingly, Pieces of April like totally popped into my head this Thanksgiving. I'm like, I haven't watched that in forever. I need to watch it again. So
it's so good.
Yeah. All right,
Andy.
For my second choice, I am looking at a film. It's not this actor's, this comedian's first serious role that happened a few years before, but it is, I think, the best of his career. It is Jamie Foxx in Collateral, 2004. And I know everybody gave Ray all the praise when it came out that year, but I honestly think that Collateral, he had a lot more stuff going on. And I don't know. I just loved everything he did in Collateral. What amazing film. Michael Mann, Tom Cruise was great in that film. Just everything about that worked perfectly. So that's my second choice, Collateral.
That's a good choice.
Pick. Really good pick. I went back in time a little bit more for my last one. This guy, I'm such a fan of this particular actor. He had come off, just really cemented himself as a comic actor after one season of a TV show that premiered in 1951. 38 episodes of The Honeymooners, and people are still laughing at Jackie Gleason today. I was introduced to Jackie Gleason in not a funny movie, or in absolutely a funny movie, and of course, Smokey and the Bandit. The movie that I'm talking about tonight is The Hustler, 1961, where Jackie Gleason plays a soberly serious and incredibly physical performance of Minnesota Fats. He spent much of his career working up to this particular match, and I just love their work together on screen in this movie. It's just fantastic. I never thought I could get this excited about Pool, but it's just great, full of so many wonderful performances. But Jackie Gleason, 1961. There you go.
That's a good one.
It's a good one. Good one. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. All right, I'm cheating. Number one. Imagine that, Andy. I'm breaking rules.
I'm not surprised.
It's a
the inmates are running the asylum
once
now.
Again, Pete doesn't bring Woody Allen, and you cheat.
So I'm bringing a twofer on this one, because one is an actual, one's the film, and then the other is the documentary about the film. I'm talking about Jim Carrey in Man on the Moon, playing Andy Kaufman, and then Jim and Andy, The Great Beyond, which gives you some insight into just the insanity of Jim Carrey. And actually, if the first selection that came to mind with Jim Carrey was when I was sitting in the movie theater watching Eternal Sunsets, Eternal, of the blah, blah mind. Because there's a scene early on where he's leaves the apartment, he tries to get into a subway car and the doors close on him. And there's this like nervous, awkward chuckle because everybody's thinking, oh, it's Jim Carrey doing his wacky, physical comedy. And that's not that type of movie at all. But it just reminded me of when we have these misperceived notions of an actor thinking, oh, they're a comic actor, they're supposed to be funny, so I should be laughing at them. And this, what he does in Man on the Moon is, yes, funny, but also horribly tragic as well. And so I wanted to bring both sides of this piece. I think it's a great set to watch together as a double feature. There's my cheat.
Yeah, that's a great pick.
I haven't seen the documentary, but the film definitely holds up. Very interesting one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Andy, your last pick. You made it all the way to the end, whatever it is.
I am a little disappointed that I can't throw Nothing in Common in here right now and get a double whammy with Jackie Gleason and Tom Hanks. but one, you already used Jackie Gleason, and two, neither of you picked this. And I was convinced one of you would, and I'm only doing this because neither of you did. So you both failed me.
Oh.
It might be in my backup.
It might be in my back catalog.
But this has to be on the list, and it's the king of comedy. Going back to the Irishman and tying everything together.
Yes,
I'm not going to lie to you. That's why I'm not picking King of Comedy.
Oh,
is
okay.
my experience with the Irishman today. It was on my list and erased.
Scribbled it out for 15 whole minutes.
Although, who are you putting it in there for? Jerry Lewis?
Oh, it's absolutely Jerry Lewis.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going to.
100%. He is the complete buffoon.
Yeah.
I have only ever seen him, I think, in one other movie of his.
Like The Nutty Professor?
No,
or something?
I've never seen that. It was Cinderfella. That was the one that I saw as a kid. Nothing else. And, it never really was like, something that I was like, oh, this is great. I'm going to watch more of his stuff. I was never that interested, but I certainly remember seeing him doing his telethons when I was younger. And then, I don't know, in the last 5-10 years or something, I finally caught up with this film, and wow, what a film. It's definitely something that Scorsese should get more notice for, because I think The King of Comedy is just a stellar film. So that is my final pick, Jerry Lewis in The King of Comedy.
It has been a long time since I've seen that. And as I was building my list, I said I was trying to go back, dig deeper in the archives. And my wife actually said, what about Jerry Lewis? And I was like, well, let me think. Well, there's that weird Nazi clown movie that's never been released. And then I just I'd already had my list built, and I was like, yeah, I got a fine list. I'm fine. And didn't even, so I'm going to be admonished when I walk out of here that I did not have King of Comedy on there, but at least Andy did bring that.
At least it was broad. That's right.
Have you seen that recently? Because I know a lot of people are talking about that with Joker and all of that together. So I didn't know if that was something you had revisited recently.
I have only seen it recently. I mean, in the last 5-10 years or so, I finally watched it, and I was like, oh man, why have I not heard more people talking about this film from Martin Scorsese? Because it's definitely one that I don't know, just more people should see. It's just a great film.
I think everything that was on my list was pretty much covered, except for one, which was Eddie Murphy in Dreamgirls, which I thought was an exceptional performance for him too.
I still haven't seen that one either, but I've heard that about it.
Yeah.
See, and I thought for sure that, Pete, I thought you were going to take Bill Murray in Lost in Translation.
Oh,
yeah, I know.
But don't you hate
I
that
do.
movie?
I hate that movie.
Do you really hate that movie?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. That's one of those. It's another one of those where I feel like I know I'm going to be completely scorned, shunned.
Sad. I had that. And then, of course, Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, which nobody else likes.
That's right.
Except for me, but I'm not allowed to do it because I picked it before and I get in trouble for it every time.
I had Will Ferrell in Stranger Than Fiction, and of course Robin Williams in Good Will Hunting as others of mine. And Truman Show was my Jim Carrey choice.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too.
So lots of good stuff.
Nice list, great list of movies. Lots of this was a fertile field this week.
Yes, it was.
So many things to choose from. But where are we going next week?
Well, we are going to be looking at Steve Martin's next film in his career, and it's going to be an interesting one to come up with our lists about. I'm curious where we're going to go. It is the very peculiar film, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Okay.
What do we want to do?
Were any of these movies, or I should say, were at any point during the show, Andy, do you remember if we said out loud, Hey, we have to remember.
I'm sure.
This should be a list. Because we've been doing that lately, and I'm not writing it down.
I'm not either. Even when I listen to the show and I check it, I'm not listening to or writing that down. And I should, but I don't remember.
Because I know in this case, you're the one who did it. Like, I actually remember an experience in one of the recent 2 or 3 shows where you said, hey, this should totally be on the... If we have a... When we
get to our SatMat list, include this. I don't know.
So dumb.
It has been, I have not seen this in a really, really long time. But you've got, you've got noir, right? You dig deep into the noir, but you've got this whole homage, yeah.
Is there an homage films series? Films that are homage to other films? That's dumb. Don't do that.
No, okay.
Well, I mean, how big is the list of movies that use other clips of other movies?
Movies. Oh, that's
going to be tiny.
That's, yeah.
All right.
As we discussed on the show.
Yeah. Maybe that was what we were talking about.
Probably.
Hey, Pete and Andy, don't use this as a list on the show. There's only 2.
Is there something we can do with let's see,
comedians
bullets?
who take roles as gangsters?
Removing bullets, like having a non-medical person removing bullets.
Okay.
Is that
I am totally behind that.
Is there a list we can pull out of that?
Okay. Sure.
Well, okay. Can we expand that? Not just bullets, like non-medical people performing
surgery.
medical work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do that. Is that fine?
Okay. I'm totally in on that.
Sure.
Performing medical work.
Yeah. All right. There's one.
Okay.
Let's see. We've got what do we have? We have Nazis. We have a plot to destroy. What was their plot to do to the U.S. to? I can't even remember what it was. It was everything. Everything in that was so absurd. We have cleaning women. Trigger words.
There's the whole like the Manchurian Candidate list, right?
Okay.
Definitely a trigger word list. I think is good.
Is there a lot of that
in the world?
In film,
in the movies,
in film that we can build a list from, other than Manchurian Candidate.
Well, they've done Manchurian Candidate twice, so
right. Trigger words.
All right, trigger words.
Well, I guess we'll put it down and see
That's
what happens.
risky.
Yeah, we'll see.
If they pick that, we're just going to have to suffer through it. Or they will.
They will suffer through the same 3 movies.
Someone will suffer.
Right. Okay, and then we've got, let's see.
I just feel like we're missing something that is like really central to the cleverness of this movie. And I know we're not going to do like clips of other movies, but there's something about like the editorial process of this movie that was super clever. And we're not really nailing what that is in our list.
Huh. I
don't have an answer for that. That's your job.
Great uses of stock footage.
Yeah. That's in the keywords.
I can't wait for that list. It's just stock footage. All drones over jungles and rivers.
That's right. Oh, no. Pete's favorite thing, title spoken by character, right? Isn't that your favorite thing, Pete?
It is absolutely my favorite thing. Just like gonorrhea.
We have found that in Steve Martin's films, that's happened quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oddly, not with the most recent one we recorded, but certainly in the first 3.
And then everything else, I mean, in the plot, it's you've got your noir detective, voiceover, and spoof type of thing.
Yeah.
Going on. So I can't get into specific details because I haven't seen this in probably over 20 years.
What are you feeling, Andy?
I'm just trying to think if there's something we should do with, we could do, something involving black and white, because that's, like more like recent films that are shot in black and white.
Okay.
Intentionally.
Sure. Intentionally shot in
intentional black and white movies.
Okay.
Sure.
That's an interesting one.
All right.
Okay. So there's our list options. We've got, we'll see where we end up with these non-medical people performing medical work, trigger words, and intentional black and white movies.
It's going to be a real hootenanny.
It's going to be something. That's for sure. All right. Well, the poll is up over in the Show Talk channel, over in Patreon, over in Discord.
Wow. Do you guys know
I don't know where
we are?
I don't know where anything is.
It's Friday night. Okay.
Oh, look, already getting in there.
It's okay.
Steve.
It's okay. We're ranking the movies on Netflix and we're posting polls on Patreon.
The charts on,
Exactly.
Perfect.
Exactly.
As it should be.
Yeah. So get your votes in, and we'll be recording. I don't know when. It might be earlier in the week, next week too. Not Saturday.
Yeah, things are shifting. Do you have an answer on what your schedule looks like going forward? I think you were the protagonist in that particular story.
Well, let's see. I can tell you right now that next week is probably better Friday night again.
Okay.
And actually the next 2 weeks are, because I've got
it'd be Thursday night that we'd been talking about, because
if we do Thursday night, we're looking at the 5th. That totally works.
All right.
Yeah. So
Thursday
nights.
This is where the shift sort of begins.
Yes.
Because of weekend challenges. So
that's right.
Keep up with that in Discord, or we'll start.
Or you can also find out about this podcast at your local library in the card catalog.
You could, right next to that red hot copy of Judo.
That's right. Because we don't know where things belong over here at the next reel.
Right.
Nope.
No one knows anything.
Thank you, everybody, for hanging with us this fine Friday night. It is a U.S. Thanksgiving, and we sure as heck give thanks for you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us, for being Patreon supporters. If you're not a Patreon supporter yet, you should check it out at thenextreel.com/Patreon. You can find out more about what it means to be a patron, what you're doing by supporting this show and letting us continue to do what we are doing, and subsidizing the costs that go into production and time and all of that grand stuff. So thank you in advance for doing that, and we will see you this coming week for all the great shows.
See you when we see you.
You know, Pete, it's a holiday weekend. Everybody's shopping. They should go buy merch. They need to go to thenextreel.com/merch.
thenextreel.com/merch. You can get your legendary Tarantinti Auteur series T-shirt, and it's good to find that those are starting to move. I got mine, and it's great. And you know what else I got? I got stickers. I got my stickers. I got my Tarantinti stickers, and I got my Patient Zero sticker. And quick, before it's too late, I even got my Marvel Movie Minute sticker.
Hey.
That's right. So though you can get stickers, you get mugs, you get whatever you want. We don't care. We put it on anything. You want a tattoo? I'll send you the artwork. You get a Tarantinti tat. A Tarantinti tat, you guys.
Yes.
Nextreel.com/merch. Also, happy Black Friday.
Hondo.
Hondo. I was waiting for Andy to say something.
I say goodbye
Top
earlier.
of the Hondo to you. Okay, goodbye.
All right.
Hondo.